What is a Gantt chart? So Admiki, he was the first, he was a Russian. He proposed this chart, but he wrote it in Russian, so it could not, propagate that much. Then Henry Gantt, he was the key to propose it, to actually publish it and to represent it. So Gantt chart, if you see now, is just like any table. Okay, this is just like a table. And if you want to get into more detail, then this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. Now the x-axis, y-axis. Y-axis, we have all the tasks which we have decided. And these tasks are to be done. And when to be done is on the x-axis. On x-axis, we have the time. We have the dates. For example, planning. Planning will start from here. This is the starting date. This is the whole duration in this color. And finally, the end is the end duration. So this is the duration of planning. So from here, you can see the schedule. You can find out when it is going to complete. And we can track and control also. There are certain tasks which are going to go in concurrent. There are certain tasks which are going to go in sequence wise. And then we have different representation like the diamonds, etc. to represent the milestone. So this is basically the representation of task on a time scale. Okay, it will give you an idea as a project manager how the things are going. So a Gantt chart is a project management tool. Software or any kind of project. This Gantt chart is a project management tool which enables you to schedule your work over a period of time. That is, when it will start, what is the duration? That means when it will end. And this can be very useful if you have a big task, big function, say. You can divide it. For example, design activity is a big activity. So we have to define and derive the task from it. So it can be useful for breaking down the big piece of work into a series of tasks. And then we can do the planning, when to complete which task, how to sequence it, which one will come after which one. So Gantt chart shows the activities or the task or the work, whichever you say, of a project mapped against a time scale. Y-axis, task or activity or work. X-axis, it's time. So it's a time scale. You know what is going to happen when. And this is used to plan a project as a project manager, and sequencing the activities. As I said, they can be sequenced, they can be concurrent, they can be overlapping, and setting them out in the order in which they are supposed to be completed. So let us take an example. This is a very simple project management example of Gantt chart. Now on this, the second column you see is basically the task. So the first one is the task name. So the second column, here you see a box I have made. This is the first one is task name. The second block is saying this the main task. It is called as a summary task, and those tasks below it are called the subtask of this summary task. So you can call it as a main task also, having this subtask as book tickets and pay agent. The third one is the start date of that task, when it is going to start. The start date determines the start position of the taskbar which we are going to make. The finish, the fourth one, the finish is the date which is determining the end position of the taskbar. Then we have the duration. Duration is the start and finish. The duration is the time between start and finish. So the difference between end and start is the duration. For D we have written, D stands for days. You can write 4H for hours. You can write 4W for weeks. 4 weeks. Okay. So this task whose duration will be 0 is called a milestone. You see, this is also a task, but it is a diamond. Here the duration is 0, and this is a milestone. That is, a substantial significant work product will be produced after previous task. The sixth one is the percentage completion, and this is indicating the progress of a particular task. Then you see here that this is 25%. 25% is complete. So you see that whole task bar is divided into two colors. The first color is 25% of the whole bar. 25% is a different color. The whole bar is of a blue color. For example, one day 100%, that is the whole of the bar, will be in the completed color which has been chosen. Okay. So now the next one is the lines which you see. The lines are nothing but the connector lines. The connector lines between the task. And this shows the sequence also. And finally, you see this is the actual thing which we want to represent, and this is a task bar. This is a task bar. Okay. So now these tasks, if you see here, they are in a parallel, they can be in sequence, they can be concurrent, there will be some work product, and they are all on the timeline scale.